Is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm following up the gentleman from Texas and talking about energy, and I got a different take on that. And the different take is this: it's all about economics. Actually, technologies exist right now to be the alternatives. The problem is they don't compete real well against the incumbent technology, because the incumbent technology doesn't have all of its negative externalities attached to it. If you attach those negative externalities to those incumbent technologies, all of a sudden, new things would happen. And rather than being driven by government and grant programs for this or that, it'd be driven by free enterprise with people making money selling the competing technology. But what do you got to do to get there? You got to figure out a way to, what economists call, internalize the externals. You got to figure out a way to attach to the incumbent technologies, which in this case with transportation is gasoline, attach the negative externalities to the price. In other words, demand accountability. Insist on accountability. Say, we're going to attach the national security risk, for example, to gasoline. And we're going to say, what is it really costing us for a gallon of gasoline? Is it the $1.90 that I paid recently in my car? Or is it a lot more than that? The answer is, it's a lot more than that. If you consider just the supply chain that we have to protect the assets that we have forwardly deployed to protect the supply chain, and attribute some percentage, it doesn't have to be 100%, but some percentage of the cost, for example, of protecting the shipping lanes that carry this stuff that we are addicted to us. If you just attach the cost of a percentage of that, maybe 50% of it, give 50% to a cost accounting to somebody else's account. But let's account to gasoline at least 50% of the cost of the operations in protecting the shipping lines. If you do, it's not $1.90 a gallon. It's a lot more. But as long as there is an unrecognized externality, then what happens? There's a market distortion. And as long as that market distortion exists, nothing happens in free enterprise. Because what happens in what free enterprise is about is a wonderful thing called making a profit. And that's what people generally on this side of the aisle understand very well, is that we're in business to make money, to make a profit. But when your competitor gets a freebie in the national security realm, or a freebie when it comes to climate change impact, or a freebie when it comes to, say, small particulates when it comes to coal, nuclear doesn't develop, alternative energies don't develop, because you got this freebie. Why not continue on with the cheap old technology, the one that really doesn't take a lot of rocket science? You stick a pipe in the ground, up comes some crude, and you refine it, you stick it in the car, and you run it. Not real rocket science. But how about some rocket science of hydrogen, for example? Well, you got to internalize some externals in order to make that work for a profit-making venture. Until then, we'll be talking science projects. I'm on science committee, and I'm happy to do science projects. But what I really want to have happen is have people making money selling the competing technology. Here's a way to do it. We're just hearing about how we don't want more taxes. So let's start with a tax reduction. What if you reduce taxes on something, say payroll or income, and then in equal amount apply a tax to carbon-based fuels? Then we'll see what happens. What would happen is, and all kinds of things would be exciting. The Bill Gates of the world in energy would suddenly do for energy what Bill Gates and Microsoft and Steve Jobs at Apple did for the PC and the internet, new entrepreneurs in the energy field would do for energy. America would break free. There'd be no additional intake to the government. And, Mr. Speaker, we'd be on our way to energy independence. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back the balance of his time.